Hello, students. I hope you are all right. And today I am going to discuss with you the important topic यूनाइटेड नेशंस एंड इट्स चैलेंजेस। पहले हम आपको ये बताने की कोशिश करेंगे कि व्हाट इज यूनाइटेड नेशंस, व्हाट आर इट्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, व्हाट आर इट्स प्रिंसिपल्स एंड हाउ इट वर्क्स। And in second part of my lecture, you will listen what are the challenges before United Nations. So let's start. What is United Nations? As we all know, United Nations is an international organization. It was established on 24th October 1945, and the basic objective, or you can say aim, of United Nations was to promote international peace and security and cooperation. This organization was in a way replacement of older organizations. You must remember the League of Nations, and at its founding 51 member states were present, whose number is now 193. So you can say there are 193 members of United Nations, and the UN headquarters is situated at New York, and organization is financed by voluntary contribution of states, member states, and it works with six it works with six official languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, Spanish. The headquarters of United Nations is New York, and this United Nations is governed by a charter. And what is charter? Charter is a treaty that forms and establishes the international organizations called the United Nations. It was signed on 26 June 1955 in San Francisco at the conclusion of United Nations Conference on International Organization, and came into force on 24th October 1945. The Statute of the International Court of Justice is an integral part of the Charter, and the purpose is to take effective collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats to the peace. The purpose is to develop friendly relations among nations based on respect for principle of equal rights and self-determination. The objective of United Nations, as I told you, is the maintaining the international peace and security. This is the prime responsibility, prime duty of United Nations: to promote peace, to maintain peace, and promote security, maintain security among nation states. Besides security and peace, it is also authorized to promote human rights. It also aims at fostering social and economic development, developing friendly relations among world nations, providing humanitarian assistance in time of crisis like famine, natural disaster, armed conflicts, and solving international problems of any nature, economic, social, or cultural. What are the principles of United Nations? In brief, the principle of United Nations is that all member states have sovereign equality. All member states must obey the charter. Countries must try to settle their differences by peaceful means. Countries must avoid using force or threatening force to other member states. The UN may not interfere in the domestic affairs of any country. Country should be assisted by United Nations in time of crisis. So far as the organization of United Nations is concerned, United Nations has 6 principal organs. इसके 6 अंग हैं, आप सभी जानते हैं, हिंदी में आपको समझा दें. द जनरल असेंबली मीन्स महासभा, द सेक्रेटरिएट सचिवालय, द सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल सुरक्षा परिषद, द इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय न्यायालय, एंड द इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल काउंसिल आर्थिक और सामाजिक परिषद, तथा ट्रस्टीशिप काउंसिल. ट्रस्टीशिप काउंसिल इज ट्रस्टीशिप काउंसिल. So far as the General Assembly is concerned, the main function of General Assembly is to assessing member countries and deciding on the budget. The only organ where every member state is represented on the basis of equality, whether she is a rich nation or poor nation, developed nation or developing nations, every country has one vote in General Assembly of the United Nations. It is convened annually, usually in month of September each year, and besides this, special session can also be convened on special circumstances. There is also Secretariat. Secretariat is the international staff on duty, stations around the world, and primarily this secretariat has administrative function. Secretary General holds office for 5 years, and it provides other principal or organizations of United Nations, and it decides the programs, policies. The Secretariat has around 45,000 staff members around the world. The Security Council, as we all know, is the United Nations most powerful organ. It deals with threats to international peace and security. It has 15 members, 5 of which are permanent members: the USA, Britain, China, France, and Russia. Besides these 5 permanent P5 members, there are also 10 other members which are elected for a tenure of 2 years. The establishment of Security Council is a matter of great debate nowadays, because there is a consensus among member states that there is need for reform in United Nations, particularly its Security Council. The International Court of Justice, as I told you, is the principal judicial organ of United Nations. It is based in Hague, Netherlands. It consists of 15 members which are elected by General Assembly and Security Council both. The basic function of United Nations International Court of Justice is to provide international law. Its function is to settle legal disputes submitted to it by member states and provide advisory opinion on legal questions submitted to it. The appeals can be made by parties to its judgment. There is also Economic and Social Council. Economic and Social Council is the central platform for debates, and it takes innovative decision on issue of sustainable development And here I would like to emphasize that sustainable development is the goal of United Nations. In year 2015, संयुक्त राष्ट्र ने एक 2030 तक का एजेंडा दुनिया के देशों को दिया है. दिस टॉपिक सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट नीड्स a detailed discussion, and which you will find in my next lecture. So I will speak on sustainable development. There is also a trusteeship council, and this trusteeship council was established to help ensure the trust territories which were administered in the best interest of their inhabitants of international peace and security. This body was authorized to examine and discuss reports from the administrative authority on the social, economic, and political, educational advancement of the peoples of trust territories. In consultation with the administrative authority, it examines petitions from and undertake periodic and other social missions to trust territories. There are some agencies of United Nations, we all know: Food and Agriculture Organizations, International Civil Aviation Organization, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations, International Labour Organizations, World Bank, International Monetary Fund, World Health Organization, United Nations Industrial Development Organization. The basic function of United Nations, besides peace and security, is provide guideline on trade and development. For this, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development was established in 1964. This was a body responsible for dealing with development issue, particularly international trade and commerce. In fact, UNCTAD is a forum where representatives of all countries can freely engage in dialogue. They discuss ways to establish a better balance in global economy. Its work can be summed up in 3 words: think, debate, and deliver. It produces often innovative analysis that form the basis for recommendations to economic policymakers of the world. The basic aim of UNCTAD is to help policymakers take informed decisions and promote macroeconomic policies best suited to ending global economic disparity, inequality, and generating people-centered sustainable development. In fact, inclusive growth, the United Nations country team is committed to work with partners to help achieve the Government of India's inclusive, sustainable, and equitable development priorities by introducing innovative ways of tackling problems, proposing evidence-based policy options, and promoting adherence to international norms and standards. In this connection, food and nutrition security is very important, and this is also aim of this body. In fact, it wants to achieve a future where every individual has adequate nutrition, involving comprehensive effort to ensure that every man, every woman, every child enjoy their right to adequate food. Women should be empowered, and priority is given to family farming and food system, where all are sustainable and resilient. In this connection, gender equality, empowering women, unleashes the largest untapped potential for sustainable development goal. Now, let us think what are the important questions around the world on United Nations ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. संयुक्त राष्ट्र के संदर्भ में क्या महत्वपूर्ण सवाल पूरी दुनिया में हैं, इसे हमको जानना चाहिए. द फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट क्वेश्चन रिगार्डिंग यूनाइटेड नेशंस इज whether this United Nations has been able to fulfill its mission for which it was established in 1945. क्या संयुक्त राष्ट्र अपने उद्देश्यों को प्राप्त करने में सफल हुआ है तब से लेकर जब 1945 में इसकी स्थापना हुई थी? या इन शॉर्ट, इज द यूनाइटेड नेशंस हैज बीन एबल टू फुलफिल इट्स मिशन इन वर्ड? एंड द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन विच arises is how can the United Nations better work with the member states and vice versa. The third important question is whether this United Nations has the right of priorities, and last but not least is will reforms work and which will work best? क्या सुधार से इसका काम और अच्छा हो सकता है, और हो सकता है तो कौन से सुधार होने चाहिए? यह महत्वपूर्ण डायमेंशन है संयुक्त राष्ट्र के बारे में. So far as the challenges before United Nations are concerned, there are many. From organization to development to natural calamity, it has several challenges. And in second part of my lecture, I will discuss with you the basic challenges before United Nations, and when we will discuss the challenges, then you will find that this is important body, international body, which needs reforms, and through reforms it can be transformed into an active organizations. So with these few words, I finish my talk. Thank you for patience hearing. Thank you.